Hello, everyone. Welcome back for the second episode of Dungeons and Dailies. I'm your host, Rainbow Pants, and I want to thank Serial Munchkin for coming back, Jesse. I want to thank No Way Jose for coming back, Josh, and we have a new guest today, which is Geo Samson or Pat. Um, Pat, why don't you introduce yourself and kind of explain what got you into WoW?
Hey guys, I been playing WoW for about 15, 16 years now since vanilla. Um, I mean, I've been playing MMOs and RPGs basically my entire life. It's for as long as I can remember. And the moment that I started playing WoW, I fell in love and haven't stopped yet.
That's awesome. So before we start, I actually have a lot that I want to talk about today because there's a lot of really cool information that came out. But before we do that, how you guys doing? I haven't actually been online for a couple days, so I just want to know how everyone's doing. What's so funny, Jesse?
Start a duel with me. Don't play for 3 days. Now we gotta average 4 or 5 hours a day, all the way until Shadowlands.
Listen, man, don't play for 3 days. I think you gotta learn how to count. It was more like 5 days. It was almost a whole week.
Don't worry, we're gonna do the brain mount this week. Don't do it.
Listen. I've failed on a lot of things that I promised for this week. That is true. But the important
Not
thing
this
is,
podcast. So here we are. This
Yeah.
project.
We're doing this podcast for our friend Rainbow Pants because we're here for him.
all you guys need to know is that I have better friends than I am friends to them. But with that out of the way, true. God damn, Josh, really putting me on
Called out.
blast today. Yeah, I love it. Okay. So, but all kidding aside, let's talk about some WoW because, like I said in the first episode, this podcast is made by casuals for casuals. Yeah, Pat, if you didn't know that, that's the tagline. So,
I like it.
You're a casual now.
I've been a casual for quite a few years.
True. Once you stop to hardcore rating, you're back to casual.
Yeah, it's been great.
But so, one of the main things I wanted to talk about is obviously, I'm sure literally by this point, when this is posted, everyone will know, but Shadowlands actually has a release date. If anyone doesn't know for whatever reason, it's October 26th for US, October 27th for the rest of the world. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of exciting, honestly. I've been looking forward to this expansion since we started getting news on it. I'm kind of excited to see what will happen with it. What do you guys think? Are you guys excited?
Definitely. I mean, well, as you know, I've been pretty burnt out on the classic raid scene, and I don't even know if I told you, but I am now out. I kind of left it open-ended because I obviously don't want to be quitting the guild. I just didn't want the weekly responsibilities of being in a speedrun guild, and it was
That's
just
awesome,
more
man.
stress than fun.
Yeah,
So,
gotta take a break.
But going hard in this until Shadowlands and trying to get some video projects together and whatnot in the meantime.
Nice. Josh, how about you? You excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. I would say I haven't looked at a lot of things about it other than the video that they posted and them talking about some of the covenants. And other than that, I mean, it looks pretty interesting. Looks pretty cool. I can't wait. I probably know what covenant I'm joining already, so that's good.
What covenant? I gotta ask.
Well, I don't know what they're called, but they're the holy people. The
Bastion.
Is it Bastion? I thought there was something else.
Are
I thought they
you
were
are you
called-
joining with Bluther? That's the real question.
Yeah, of course.
All right,
Yeah,
then Bastion.
Luther is the man. So gotta join with my boy.
I don't know.
Nice.
I really expected you to join the vampires.
No,
That's
why would, no
true.
one wants. No, okay. So far, and nobody has joined the vampires. The
Really?
Night Fae is Noah and Jesse, from what I remember. Ben has joined the Necrolords for his warlock. I don't know what Will's doing. He hasn't talked to us about
Well,
it.
he's gonna wait till whatever gives the biggest DPS.
Yeah,
Hold on,
Uh,
who's Will?
yeah. I don't know this Will actually.
Although I can't say anything, I haven't been here for a week. But who's Will?
You can't talk, bro.
But
Nah, but overall, that's the only one we're missing right there is the Venthar.
Okay.
But we'll see. But
Pat,
yeah, I can't wait.
nice, man. That's awesome. Pat, how about you? Excited?
I'm certainly excited. I mean, I always enjoy a new expansion. For all the breaks that I've taken from this game, I always come back to see the new content. It's always nice to have a change of pace, and especially after the flop that was BFA, I'd like to see something new.
Most of your comebacks are because of me. Genuine story. This is my favorite thing. Like right when we actually started raiding with the last guild we played with, we like Pat had started playing Guild Wars and was like, I'm loving Guild Wars. Guild Wars is great. It's so much fun. We're having fun. And then I came in one day talking about how I found a new guild and I was gonna start raiding and it was real fun. And Pat's like, you motherfucker, I'm coming back to WoW now. And
And then I made 700,000 gold, so it really didn't work out that poorly.
True. But yeah, so that happened. That was
it's the Tyrion. That's what they're called.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's who you're joining?
Yes.
Oh, Bastion's the zone. That's right.
Yes.
Okay, so I think along with that, since now we know there's only 2 months until time, I know Jesse kind of talked about his plans of, a little bit of video making, a little bit of hardcore, try to finish it up. What else, is there anything that you guys are trying to complete before? Pat, I know we wanted to get the long boy, but long boy.
Yeah, that's kind of out of the picture at this point, unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
I mean, nothing specific. I'm just gonna keep working on the gold farming and see if I can't get help us really get pretty far off the ground, and otherwise, just leveling up a couple of alts and doing whatever I feel like.
Makes sense. Jesse, I know you're taking a step back. Other than hardcore, are you going to do anything retail related, or are you going to kind of stick to classic until it comes out?
I think that, aside from transmog farming, and just the ones that I've been after, Warglaves and Thunder Fury, I'm probably not gonna do too much. I'm not much of a alt guy in retail or anything. Probably sticking to 2 characters each faction or something, and once Ben and Josh are doing more Moonguard stuff, or if I see Miranda on Moonguard some more, then maybe I'll play there. But I'm just gonna boost a shaman there or something.
Okay, hold on. I don't mean to cut you off, but I need to ask this because it's important. What are Ben and Josh doing on Moonguard?
Well, Ben, Thorn, and Miranda
okay.
are also going on Moonguard, and because Ben Dorn really likes the whatchamacallit. Holy shit, this gave me a green hammer. God damn it.
Roleplay?
Nice.
But it's always fun on RP. Dodge the furries and stuff. But
Okay. I was a little worried there for a second, Jesse. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, man, anything can happen in Goldshire, and it will stay there.
That's why I won't stay
Yeah.
there.
in Goldshire, and the world's your oyster.
Yeah, Ben and I joined a legit guild, and we actually had meetings where we had to sit down and all that. It was great.
That's
the best one.
actually pretty cool.
We drew we didn't particularly drew the guild, but it was already in a growing phase. But we got to a decently ranked position, and this was right before the Legion pre-patch and all that stuff. And we actually went to a meeting with 20 other guilds in Moonguard talking about the preparation for the Legion invasion. It was interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I was wearing the purple Judgment armor set. Ben was a warrior wearing just not Draenor set, but black warrior set. Looked really nice. It was
awesome.
overall an interesting experience, and we had fun with it. But we actually met them in Goldshire, so because we were questing there, because we had no looms and anything like that, so we just bulling out.
I get you. So is that what you're probably gonna do, Josh? Honestly, you're gonna maybe RP a little bit? And...
I don't know. I mean, right now I'm focused on getting my characters up to 120, and for when that comes out, probably getting those characters to a decent position in the factions or the covenants and all that stuff. Finishing the story. I know you guys don't particularly want to raid, but I still want to try a raid or two and do mythics, of course, as well. But right now, you know what? We're just gonna go in, have a grand old time.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, I think honestly, for me, a lot of my time genuinely, believe it or not, even though I haven't been on, has been taken up, like setting up for this podcast. I kind of, I'm probably gonna say it a lot over this episode and the next few weeks, but I was genuinely shocked, real quick, when I posted last podcast. I thought I'd get a couple of views here and there, but I wasn't actually expecting. I think it got something like 30 views or something like that since last week, which to me is insane. Honestly, like I was thinking maybe I would end up, taking a look at it, or maybe, the guys who, we normally play games with would look at it. I wasn't expecting 30 views wherever they came from, so I'm kind of excited to see where this goes, and barring any more audio issues, it should only get better from here. So, like, really excited about that. So, WoW-wise, I'll probably just be doing what I always do, which is randomly logging on and doing whatever remedial task I want to do that day, be it genuinely LFR I sometimes go into just for fun, because I'm weird like that.
God, you're a terrifying person.
I don't know, man. I will load in and I'm like, I never did Eternal Palace. Let me go into LFR just to see what it's like. And then I'm like, okay, this isn't great, but the raid's fun.
Yeah, just tell me when you want to go in. I'll go with you.
All right, man. Sounds good. I'll go in with you.
How
Let's do
do
it.
you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
How
I've
do you
only
go in there
done.
willingly?
I've done like 3 raids. Excuse me.
True,
I'm trying
yeah.
to figure out raids.
I still
I don't
love
know.
Josh's first raid, Pat, was a normal speed run of Nyalotha, not knowing any of the fights, and still dying less than like one of the healers in our group.
Josh
And it
is
was,
a gamer.
That's
I'm
pretty funny.
telling you, man. Yeah, like he's a god. But yeah,
Surprised you didn't
so
die as much though with what's it called? You not being able to see the first fight.
yeah, I loaded in, Pat. This was really actually ridiculously funny. I loaded into Raytheon, and none of the raid was there, and Raytheon wasn't on the screen. And so I quickly explained the mechanics to Josh, and I was like, all right, do you understand what's happening? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, now tell me what's happening so that I can actually do the mechanics, because I tried reloading and it didn't work.
What the
So,
fuck?
yeah, so I did the first boss, didn't die by having Josh, who just learned the fight, tell me what to do. And we did it. So Josh, raid lead 2021. That's what I'm hearing.
So yeah, I'll try.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
No one will do it, but I'll try.
Nah, man, I will totally join that.
All right, we
raid.
need 38 more people. All right.
All right, sounds good.
Left
So
side, Wilps, handle it.
Right
Forward
side.
that'd
What are
be,
you fucking doing?
I want you to DPS very slowly.
So actually, one of the things I wanted to talk about too, because I know last time we talked about like the loot changes and stuff when it comes to Shadowlands, or at least we touched upon it. But one of the things that I found interesting, we talked about how classic is kind of bleeding over into retail. The level squish. I know we kind of mentioned that everyone's going back to 60. I kind of want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And there's talent changes that are around, and they're trying to bring some class dynamic back to each class. Are you guys happy that it's going back to 60, or do you think it's weird after spending this much time? Like, real quick to kind of talk about it, is that things like Ragnaros, who has always been level 60, is going to be level 30 in retail? What do you guys think?
Yeah, and I think a lot of the problems that come from this game are because of how long it's been going, and then any level of immersion is just gone when us walking through Molten Core is just like flies to an elephant. Like, I don't know. I think it just, it's weird going through a stat wish, but I think it'll be necessary for the game to feel better again.
I get that. Pat, any thoughts?
Well, it's kind of necessary at this point. So, because Warcraft's getting to the point where EverQuest started to struggle, which is there's just too much going on in this game at this point, right? 99% of it is literally useless at this point. Because, yeah, you can have the people like myself that go and transmog farm. You can have the people that are going back for, different content or mounts and all of the different shit that's in the old expansions. But realistically speaking, it's useless. So the number squish, putting everybody back to level 60, first off, fixes the ridiculous numbers that we're getting to, because 120 doing 500k DPS is just getting a little ridiculous. So putting it back to level 60 gives them a baseline that they already have established in that they've already built and established in 2 separate games. Yeah, they were the same game, but still done it twice. It's going to be really easy to be able to control it again. It doesn't really do much for old content, but at least it gives them the control to continue moving forward. And then on top of that, they've got the whole leveling system worked out to utilize the old content without it being 100% useless like it feels now.
Well,
You
and the cool
get what I
thing
mean?
is, yeah, and the cool thing is too is like, I didn't do much of it, but I popped on the not the beta. What's the other thing you can go on? PTR.
PTR?
That's what it's called. Yeah. And I right when it was released, when pre-patch was released, I went in there because one of the things that was added in the PTR was the new like starting zone. And I know you mean like how leveling for this expansion is going to be kind of based on, you go to an expansion and then you level from 10 to 50 in that expansion, then you go to Shadowlands. But like on the PTR, I went to the new starting zone because I was just curious to see what it was like. And if it's not your first character, you can choose to start in the post-Cataclysm starting zone for that race. But if it's your first character, you're forced to start in Exile's Reach. And one thing I didn't do was I didn't go to like the normal starting zone and see the changes there, or if there are any changes.
I don't think there are. I think they're the same.
But like what was cool about Exile's Reach was like it was very hold your hand, right? But that's what it's for. It's for new players. I mean,
That's
it was
the idea, right?
like I made a mage to try it out, and basically we were sitting there and like the person there's like a ship captain who comes through and they're like, you need to use this ability to slow me. You need to use this ability to get away from me. And like it was very like, for me, even though I've never played mage, I know how the game plays. It was very kind of boring, but I could definitely see someone who's never picked up the game. It's kind of a good medium between like you actually get to get different abilities like you do in classic, but it's not just like, hi, have fun, don't die. You actually like get to know a little bit about your class and learn a little bit more without going overboard. So it'll be interesting to see how it fits.
Right. That kind of goes back to my whole. There's so much going on that you kind of need a walkthrough like that to get a base understanding of the game if you're genuinely playing the game by yourself, right? If somebody that doesn't have friends that play, doesn't really know anybody, doesn't have anybody that's going to help them, walks into this game, they're going to kind of freak out for a second. It's kind of like when we first started playing BDO and tried to figure out the crafting system, and it took us, I don't even know how long. I mean, I had to at least have read articles for at least 10 hours.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the same kind of idea for somebody that's never played WoW. So it's nice that they're putting that level of structure in.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting too, because along with all of that, the thing that I'm kind of most worried about, especially like, I know we're talking about just the starting zones and things like that, but I think what I'm kind of worried about with the stat squish is like, or not stat squish, but the level squish is like, right now, I know we kind of go back and forth with this as a group, but like, I genuinely like feeling powerful. Like I get there's a point where you feel too powerful, and like Legion is an example for most people where I remember when I went into a raid, I did 4 million healing, and Jesse, I remember us talking about like 150k, and you're like, what is that? Like, 4 million.
Big brain too smooth.
Like 4 million is just insane, but the cool thing about it was like, oh, I do damage. Like, I am actually just this strong motherfucker who could just do whatever I want. And I know there's a point where that gets a little bit, I don't like, it's not diminishing returns because you're not taking stuff away, but I know there's a point where it's just like, okay, you're kind of a little too big for your britches. But I'm genuinely kind of worried about feeling weak. And I want to hear, like, Pat, I want to hear your and Jesse's opinion, but I kind of want to hear, Josh, your thoughts on it. And the reason I want to hear your thoughts is because
You forget him all the time.
well, okay, no,
Okay, into it.
but the real reason is because,
Everybody
like,
needs to know.
Pat's gonna come at it from like a level of, knowing hardcore rating and how it felt, and, looking at numbers. Jesse's gonna come from classic WoW, knowing those stats and things like that. Josh, as someone who just kind of like plays what he wants and has fun, do you feel powerful in the game right now? Like, I know it's a weird question, but do you feel powerful?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's. I mean, I don't know. Feeling powerful is just a hard thing to really tell. I don't really go into PvP trying to do the most damage, or I don't go into raiding. I don't have what's it called?
Like
What
the
are they
corruption?
called? The add-ons that tell me what damage I'm doing. So I don't know if I'm even doing good damage half the time. So it's, to me, it's just I'm just there. So I don't particularly care about being powerful. I just don't want it to be just, I guess, an unnecessary slog. Like, I'd want to be doing something where is in, say, like games like Destiny, where it's like I'm doing the same thing for about 2 hours fighting this one guy, nothing changes and all that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I feel good enough right now, I'd say.
Okay. Um, I Jesse, I kind of want to hear your thoughts, just because we're going kind of back to a classic mentality. A lot of people have said that. I don't know if I agree with it, but like, we're going back to a classic mentality. So, what are your thoughts on like my worry?
So like I think it still needs to feel like a dangerous world. Like even if we're the baddest mamma jamma of them all, like I shouldn't be able to hold everything and stand there and just let them smack me unless I'm maybe built for that. But like so classic after I got like my warrior after tanking for a bit and I got like 5-piece wrath and a drill borer shield and thorium shield spike and built the tank. I went into stockades to see how many things I could let smack me, and it was like 4 rooms or something. And while that's like, you know, insignificant, they're level 20 something elites and whatever.
I mean, you were level
It
60,
was
weren't you?
I was level 60 with Blackwing layer gear,
Yeah,
and I would die if I
pulled too
didn't
much.
fight back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it, I think like the numbers don't do the lore and immersion well. Like, yeah, we down the bosses and whatever, but it's still like a big effort of many people with various plot points and magical artifacts to do it. We don't just like in the game we can run in and smack Ragnaros across the cheeks and he dies in one hit, but like that's never really the case lore wise. Like lore wise, Illidan is still scared of arrows in the novel, right? Like the
Yeah.
dude is single-handedly jailing Sargeras, but when we invaded the Black Temple, it was still like a thing that he thought about was to dodge people's arrows. He didn't just laugh at them while he AFK'd and then AoE'd everyone down, even though he's the baddest Mamma Jamma. So like I think it just needs to feel right. Like there's a level of power that is sufficient.
Makes sense. Pat?
Where do I even begin? Jesus Christ. You loaded me with statements. So I totally get the level of concern that you would have with still having that feeling of, power. Um, but there's a line that they've crossed now where the numbers are just excessive. You can still feel powerful doing 10 to 20k DPS when those are large numbers comparatively, right? It you're used to these larger numbers at max level, right? 'Cause a lot of your max level playing has been in the past several expansions, so you're
All of
used
my
to the
max
numbers
level.
being right.
I didn't
You're
hit
used to the
max
numbers
level till
being very
10.
large. Where like playing in vanilla, like actual vanilla, not classic WoW, and classic WoW as well as BC and Wrath, it wasn't until Wrath that I saw somebody have 100k health or 100k damage or anything 100k. I never had seen the K on a player until that, and they blew every single cooldown they had and were stacking stamina to be able to get to it. So I feel like that power is still going to be present because the power doesn't necessarily come from the size of the number, but it comes from the difference between like all of the other numbers around. And when you can balance it a little bit better because the numbers are smaller, it's going to be easier to craft it the way that you want it to be. And I get the concern that, it's going to go back to like a classic WoW-esque feeling where you don't have the level of power that you do in retail. But at the same time, what brings the power in retail is the new and unique abilities, all the different AoE variants that they've added into the game, all of the new abilities, all of that stuff is what's giving you that level of power and that feeling of being, not just some random soldier in a line, but actually, a significant part is coming from all of that already. So I don't think you're going to lose anything from the number squish itself.
Honestly, like, I know you guys have been talking about the number switch, but the thing that's been on my mind, I know with the new expansion and all that, I feel like, in my opinion, since I just came back at basically the end of BFA, and with this big Winds of Wisdom experience buff thing, I feel like right there is a big thing for me. I feel like we just get too much experience too fast. So like right now, I'm playing a rogue, and I'm like level 80 or something, and I'm doing a high jaw, and I'm blazing through. Like I do one quest, I get like 2 levels, and I'm just not experiencing it like through a lore standpoint, like or through like just a physical standpoint. I'm just getting levels and all that. Like, yeah, I know people want to do end game content and all that, but there's no reason to have a sense of enjoyment within a zone anymore. So like,
Right. It's like
I'm just hoping that the next zone or the next area will do that. Because then again, I haven't ever played during a pre-patch or hell, man, even during like post. I'm always at the end of every thing.
So yeah, you'll see a different level of immersion when you're actually playing through this questing stuff while we're at that point as well. And two, it kind of goes back to Jesse's. It's you don't feel as immersed, so that's why they're doing the leveling system change, where because this numbers are squished down, they're able to do each different expansion, just getting you to max level, so you get that level of immersion back. And that's actually something when they first announced it at BlizzCon that I almost quoted them saying, right? They wanted it to feel actually special again.
Well,
I hope so, man.
Well, and the funny thing is too, Josh, is I like that you brought up the fact of the lore, because I'm imagining that's probably why they went through the change of actually making it to where one expansion will level you to level 50, because like you say, I think when I do Cataclysm, I always run Highjaw and then one other zone, and that gets me to the point where I go out to Draenor, because I don't need to do more. And Draenor's set up a little bit differently. I do Frostfire Ridge and then the beginning of Talador, and then I'm good. And so, like you're
Oh, that's
saying,
funny. I just started doing the bonus objectives after I hit 92.
that's fair. But like basically, I think what you're getting at, Josh, is you're right. I think they do want to bring back that story aspect and make it interesting. And I'm glad you brought up the story, because like I know we're talking about the whole immersion of WoW just in general and stuff like that, but one of the crazy things about this expansion and us talking about in the classic setting is they're bringing back a lot of characters from old expansions. I know they've started to mention a couple, and some are from I think most are from Wrath, just because it makes the most sense that they would be from Wrath, seeing as we're dealing with the Lich King and going to Shadowlands again. Actually going to where at this point the retcon version of the Lich King is, helping do jail. I don't know if you guys have heard, the three big ones that they've talked about and actually released a thing about in their new uh I don't know if it's like a graphic novel that's being released or a it's not a comic section, but I watched the video of it, but they're releasing like actual like manga style books of these things,
I
and
think they technically are counted under the comic
yeah,
section.
and they're called, and it's called Afterlives, and the first one released yesterday, I think, right? And it had Arthas and Uther as like the big main ones, or Josh, as you call him now, Bluther.
Luther.
But what do you guys think about that? Because I never really played a paladin seriously. I played a paladin for a little bit, and I know who Uther is, but I forgot that Uther's tomb is around in classic, and I don't think it really gets big until um, Wrath. But it's around in classic, and then obviously, I don't think anyone who plays WoW doesn't know who Arthas is. So, are you excited to see people like that come back? And what do you think?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he's the paladin in Warcraft 3. Like, that is,
Oh, true.
if you get the paladin hero, it's Uther. And, story-wise, he's the staple of Warcraft, Arthas' babysitter. So it's big for me. And, like, as a classic thing, there's Uther's tomb, of course, but that's, like, kind of a flavor bit. He wasn't very big. Of course, his name is everywhere, but it's a flavor bite. Like you're still talking with Tyrion and Vanilla doing his
True.
little amnesia quest line and whatnot.
I love that quest line.
I hate that.
Kill a bunch of giant slugs and maybe I'll get my memory back.
It makes so much sense.
I mean, Josh, again, Pat, I want to hear, but Josh, you're only playing a paladin, basically.
Yeah, no, that's what I did when I first played with this paladin, was just play through a lot of the storyline. I think it was Eastern Pladelands where you gotta do the Palibro quest line, and that
Yup.
was arguably like my favorite zone because of
The
that
Paladin
area.
Pals.
Yeah, the Paladin Pals. And overall, even though I didn't play through Legion, I mean, I played the very, very beginning of it, and through a lore aspect, I enjoyed it. Like, I always try and play through a kind of what's the word I'm looking for? What the hell? Like in Mass Effect, where my choices matter. I know they don't matter at
Oh,
all, but
yeah,
I always
yeah.
play that where my character would do this or my character would do that because of lore reasons and all that. So seeing Uther coming back for basically justice and all that is really cool, and just trying to solve what he believes to be his problems and the problems that Azeroth is facing, etc. Now that there's much more to deal with, and that makes a lot. It's probably more than I understand at the moment, but overall, I still enjoy it, and I want to see where it goes.
So I actually kind of love that you said he's coming back for justice. So I think you guys probably saw, but the name of this episode for the Afterlife saga was Justice or Vengeance.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is what is Uther actually holding on to? Is he doing it because he wants true justice and he thinks this is what Arthas deserves? And so I guess I should probably give a little detail. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. I would imagine, I genuinely don't know. I could probably link a video like that in YouTube, right?
You can add the link to the YouTube channel, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'll probably put
In the
I'll put a
comments.
link to it in the video. But basically, Uther throws Arthas into the maw. I'm pretty sure it's a little bit of retconning to make it make sense that Arthas is going to be there later. But the question is basically, all right, is it done because that's what Uther believes Arthas deserves for what he did to him, or is it Uther just like, hey, fuck you, get down there? So Josh, if you're talking about like, hey, what your choices matter and things like that, what do you think? You think it's justice, like he's doing it for genuine, he thinks Arthas deserves this, or is he doing it for vengeance because he just hates him?
No, I think he's doing it in his eyes. It's a justice belief because what's it called? Even though he wants to be ascended, just like everyone else, he's still holding on to the past. Like I know a lot of people will say it's just he just hates Arthas now and all that. Because when I was watching the video, part of him felt like he didn't hate Arthas. It's just he felt like it was the right thing to do in order to make sure that everything could go back to potential normal. Even though, as you said, it's probably going to be retcon, he's going to come back and all that, but we don't know that particularly yet. So I'm 100% okay with it, and I just want to see. I honestly just want to see where it goes. Is it like anything could happen? Maybe there's a I don't know their names and all that, but I think it was the Kyrian. I can't really tell who those people were, but I don't know. Maybe she might have done something to Uther or something because he seemed a lot more serious at the time. A lot more like he wasn't. I mean, Uther's always been known to be serious, but
he wasn't his happy jovial self as Uther
he wasn't
is known
jovial
to be.
and all that. So maybe something might have happened because like, how was he supposed to ascend when he couldn't even ascend because his soul was basically trapped within was it the sword or I think it was the sword.
Frostmourne, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe she did something to him. Maybe she kind of corrupted him. I don't know, but I just want to see where it goes. Overall, it just looks cool. So
I feel like Ascension isn't like all that it's cut out to be. I guess like obviously he's stronger now, whatever, can fly and all that mumbo jumbo, but
I mean,
like,
flying's pretty cool.
yeah, but like
He doesn't
they
even need a mount, man. Like you don't want to fly without a mount.
Come on, just go get a griffin and start
press
storming.
space twice and fly. But I think what they're getting at and what they've been getting at with like Naru and stuff is it's not all good. Like within the light, like light is just a faction. It's not the embodiment of good. You can still do whatever with the light. It's like, hey, Illidan, you're pretty strong. Why don't I dominate your being so that I can fight the bad guys?
I mean, that's what they did with the Lightforged, with the Mantar Works and all that stuff. So
that's why Illidan killed it, and Illidan is a demon hybrid, and he's good.
I mean, he's just emo,
Quote-unquote
Jesse.
good.
Like I hate to tell you, he's just emo. I don't think you can. I don't think you can like blow up. Like, listen, whether the light's good or bad, I don't think you can blow up something of the light and say I am my scars and not be emo. Like I don't think that's
He is
possible.
emo, but he's
Like
the best guy.
I'm sorry, like
Best boy.
I
Illidan.
really think they just took a book out of George R. R. Martin's and is just starting to make everybody kind of like the same character. People just can't start dropping dead. I mean, we already did lose 3 war chiefs in the past several expansions.
Jesse, I was
Now there's the
14
council.
once. I was 14 once. I know what emo is. Sadly, Illidan is just emo. But
yo,
yeah, no.
same. You're talking to us like we don't know what that is either.
That's a good point. What I should say is I'm 23. I know what emo is. No, but yeah, no. It's definitely
my
interesting.
YouTube channel, dude.
yeah. I don't know about that one, but yeah. But it is interesting for sure, and I just think it's so cool that style of okay, what's gonna happen, and then the kind of interesting thing is too is I don't know much about the lore of Shadowlands and who these people are obviously, but there's that Devos character who's following Uther and like helping him ascend, and the thought process is she's probably been there for eons, right? Like that's the statement is like, oh yeah, this is how it's been and this is how it always will be. And then she's just like in front of the Archon who chooses who ascends and who doesn't. And she's like, maybe this isn't a great idea. And the Archon's like, all right, hold on here.
What the hell, man?
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Well,
I'm
it's like
always right. What the hell?
the path being always right is like there's no war in Ba Sing Se. Like there is. The Earth Kingdoms, they're good guys, right? But there's some propaganda that's not right. You know.
Yeah.
I'm just generally excited. That's all I can really say. Like, it looks like it could be real fun, and it looks like through a lore standpoint, it's very interesting. Like, even though I'm just still going through BFA and all that, just watching, say, for instance, I know no one cared about BFA as much, but just watching Lady Azara come back, and at one point seeing that, oh no, she could be good, and then it's like, oh wait, a second later, wait, she's actually just corrupted by N'Zoth, even though she said she wasn't corrupted by N'Zoth. Weird, but it's interesting. Like, she's been back what, 3-4 times already. So
Are you good? Well, yes, but actually no. Like,
are you helping N'Zoth? No.
Sounds like something an evil person would say.
Well, you know,
But she
it's
could
funny that you said that too, Josh. Like, the thing about people coming back, one of the things that I thought is interesting is there's all these people in the lore, and it's interesting. So I'm gonna kind of go like super behind the scenes because I'm interested to hear what you guys think. So there was and I never know how to say his name, but there was an interview with, is it Ian or Ian? Has a Costas.
Ian?
You know who I'm talking about. Ian has a Costas or whatever his name is, because I never know how to pronounce it.
I hope he sees this.
Oh yeah, man. Hey Ian, if you watch, I'm sorry I don't know how to pronounce your name.
I love you. But I'm sorry.
Yeah, I play your game every day, but I don't know how to pronounce your name. But basically, he said in an interview, because people were mad that we killed N'Zoth, right? They were like, okay, this guy is basically been controlling something in lore since Classic, and we were just like, hey, this is your world, cool, bye, and we killed him. And
See you.
And his response was, well, there's always going to be a new threat that, he's not the only big bad out there. After saying that, there's talks of Arthas coming back. And, I know we mentioned this before we started talking, but, Pat, I know you said you just expect Arthas to be a raid boss.
Arthas is going to be a raid boss. And he's going to be a significant person in this.
Well, and the thing is that, obviously Blizzard, whether they're holding their tongue or whatever, said that they don't want Arthas to be, because we've already gone through that. What do you guys think about, like, these characters?
They've rehashed so many bosses already. I wouldn't be surprised. He's a very significant character with a lot of unique abilities.
And
if they do it right, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Arthas redemption arc.
Redemption arc.
That is a possibility, but he's in the maw now.
Hey,
well,
if Illidan's a guy,
I will say, Pat, we don't know truly where he is because he was thrown into the maw. But if he
maybe Arthas missed,
it's just like, oops.
I don't know if he could miss that. That was a pretty big opening, and he was floating inside of it.
I don't think he missed, but maybe he missed. What? Oh man, Jesse, I thought that was a wand. I got so happy. For anyone curious, when we record this live, I'm just gonna throw it out there, Jesse, for fun. When we record this live, we are normally working on the hardcore challenge on our Twitches, which are gonna be on the description below. Everyone's going to be linked to their Twitch, which is going to force Josh to start streaming again because he's the content everyone wants.
Josh is the best streamer.
But basically, if I ever say something like that, it's just because I got something or something happened in the hardcore thing. But back to what we were saying. Well, I don't think Uther missed throwing Arthas into the maw. We don't know how long this goes through. Like, all right, I'm going to give... It's not really a spoiler. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but basically...
Spoiler!
Spoiler alert. I'll put it up, I guess. Even though the whole thing is really a spoiler alert. Well, we're talking when you go into the Maw at the beginning of Shadowlands, you talk to Jaina, and she goes, "Well, I've tried to break out of here, and I've lost count on how many times I've tried to do it." And, you know, maybe Jaina's not a math whiz and she can only count to 5. But, everyone's thinking that, like, if she lost count, it means she's been there a while. And so, like, maybe in the time that's gone,
I mean,
and we
she's
don't
a
know
super
when.
powerful wizard. She would probably be able to keep track of time for a while.
Oh, a wand! All right. So that was to make up for it. But okay, Jesse, no, give it. Okay, sorry, got trailed off because Jesse ninja looted me. But basically, I think it's going to be interesting because, yeah, we think Arthas is in the Maw, but we don't have any proof of that. So
I mean, that video of him getting dropped into the maw is kind of proof.
yeah, but when was that?
Is it,
That's what I mean.
Right after Arthas died.
Okay,
Is
right after Arthas died, which means
Oh no, I stood
at
there
the
waiting.
very least, it's been 10 years.
It's been exactly 10 years.
Well, I don't know, because the whole thing of,
No,
we
because
don't know.
that's. But hold
No,
on.
it's been 10
Hold on,
years
hold
in
on, hold on.
Azeroth. No, it's been 10 years in Azeroth, but the whole point I'm making is that when you go
I
in to
thought you were
find
trying
Jaina,
to say we didn't know how long it had been. I was like, no, it's been exactly 10 years in the
we
game.
don't know how it's long. We don't know how
Yes,
long it's
how long
been
that
in the
is in
Shadowlands.
Shadowlands. No, correct. Yes.
So he could be somewhere else, and so it'll be interesting to see where that actually takes him. Now, do I actually think he's going to be somewhere else? No. But, they could throw a curveball, which wouldn't be a curveball with how many things are out nowadays. But
Sorry guys, I'm stuck in Draenor.
I would be very surprised if he was outside of the Maw for the simple fact if they even said in that video, nothing ever escaped the Maw. Right now, Frostmourne did end up on Azeroth. I'm fairly certain that had something to do with Sargeras there. Sargeras did that personally, I believe. I'd have to double check the lore on Ner'zhul and Arthas when they became the Lich King.
So that's actually I'm glad you said that too, Pat, because that was another thing I was thinking about and didn't know how to slot in. Isn't it? I think it's a retcon that Frostmourne was from the Shadowlands, isn't it? That's not the original lore of Frostmourne.
I want to say yes, but I'm
thought the
not
original lore
100%.
was,
I'd
like,
have to double check.
Dreadlords made it or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was made by Sargeras' army specifically to corrupt Arthas.
So how do you
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that was not forged from the Maw. I don't remember anything in the lore stating specifically where it was forged from or what it was forged out of, just that it was forged by Sargeras' men.
So it may
it
not
could
be
still
a
be from the
retcon.
Maw.
It's
That was
just
like-
Correct. An addition.
Atrazine or something.
Now,
Where'd you think it
the
was,
part
Jesse?
that is a retcon
Wait, hold on. What'd you say,
is
Jesse?
I just thought it was Netrazine. I thought the original helmet and sword were made to weaken Azeroth for a Legion invasion. That was my original understanding of Lich King, and then Ner'zhul was like, "Nah, fuck you guys. I'm gonna use the Scourge to fight you guys."
No, you.
Big middle fingers. But I don't read books, so don't listen to me.
I don't know how to read. I don't know how to read, man. So I'm on your boat, Jesse. I get it.
Ner'zhul was tricked into becoming the Lich King. He thought that he was being given absolute power, and then found out that he was literally just going to be used as a husk and tried to fight back with the Scourge. But then they merged Arthas. They literally tricked Arthas as well, merged them together. At which point they had complete control over him to control the Scourge exactly how they wanted. I'm not 100% sure on the weakening of anybody or anything like that. I'd have to double check. Again, it's been a long time since I've read that book. But as I was saying, there's one slight retcon, which is Uther is released from Frostmourne after Arthas dies. So how is he already in the Shadowlands? Because technically speaking, I think what they exactly said was the soul is stored in Frostmourne, which means that he shouldn't be able to get to Shadowlands. I mean, I
Yeah.
know they showed like the fractured soul.
I
Well,
think
didn't it
that's probably
break
the
during that fight.
I mean, I guess, but then he becomes whatever the winged dudes are called again.
ascended.
Yes, he becomes ascended and then goes and gets Arthas, but shows up after you kill Arthas without the wings. Like it would be weird if his other half, his soul, got released from Frostmourne, and then just kind of showed up while the rest of his soul's flying down to grab Arthas's.
All right, guys, I got it. Uther actually had a twin.
Named
Obviously.
Bluther.
Named Bluther. It all makes sense now. Josh, I get why you call him Bluther. I love it. Okay.
See, I just know.
Got it.
Yeah, man.
I'm okay with this. This
So
is canon.
what we didn't know is that Josh actually has a job with them.
Josh actually writes the storyline to World of Warcraft.
It was me
Yeah.
the whole time. I would have never guessed.
Even I didn't know.
I'm the last guy I would have ever expected.
They actually just
Like
have
a
microphones in
drunken-
Josh's apartment.
Wouldn't be surprised.
In a crazy liquored up state, Josh just like slams 20,000 pages of lore and then sends it to Blizzard. Doesn't remember
Just-
anything.
Listening
Well-
to everything you guys tell me, and I'm like, all right, taking notes. Okay,
See,
I got it.
Jesse, the thing is that like you say in a crazy liquored up state, I could see Josh just being like, "I'm gonna write this one day," and then the next day being like, "What did I do?" And just like,
I'll just send it anyway.
yeah, it's
I'll
like,
like
eh,
it. And then
this is
BFA
bad.
comes out. Shit.
Hey man, I'll tell you, I actually like BFA, but
I do
that's
too.
for a different time.
Wish my boy Rustaton lived, but other than that,
Spoilers.
made Anduin look like a Chad.
Spoilers
Okay, it
from
can't
the-
be spoilers, dude. It's over.
I don't know if it spoils you at this point.
Sorry,
Like the 2-month rule or something.
Rustaton is no more. He was my favorite.
That's
Solange was
fair.
cool though.
See, I'm excited because, you know, we're talking about lore, and I think one of the other things that came out about it was that the paragons of the Shadowlands are equivalent to the Titans we've met on Azeroth. Like, that was a big thing that came out, like, when this all kind of started. I think that's going to be cool. Like, obviously, you know, they have to relate it to something, but, like, I'm kind of excited for that, you know, seeing a different version of what we've always known and kind of seeing how that relates in a realm we've never been before. And, you know, I know, let's be honest, it seems like trouble kind of follows. I know it's like we always kind of deal with trouble, but I kind of feel like we always cause trouble. Like
It was us. Your time.
I saw a great picture of like it was like a joke about Pandaria where it was like Horde finding Pandaria and fighting Alliance, Alliance finding Pandaria and
Oh yeah.
fighting Horde, and then it's like the random Pandarin like picking flowers and he's like,
Shit.
what's up everybody? Like, you know, so I think it'll be interesting to see like, you know, if we're all going there and there's this giant like broken sky in the middle of, you know, Northrend, what, like, do you think something could like come from? I know this is like, okay, this is like crackpot like ridiculous theories right now, but do you think something could like come from Azeroth or yeah?
What do you mean come from Azeroth?
I don't know, like maybe something follows us, like, because obviously we don't know, like, as of right now we don't know how we get there, so like maybe something like follows us how we get there. Like, do we just have to die? Like, we've been dying for 15 years. I mean, I've been dying for 15 years.
That was
Like-
like the original Hell Yeah contract thing, or like the original fan theory was that. So the fan theory that I followed, because I really liked it for my girl Sylvanas, was that she wanted to fight the old gods because they are bad and they keep doing bad stuff to us.
Old God's bad.
But it's like proven that being undead, whatever sect of undead you are, it will make you resistant to their influence. So like the fan theory was that Sylvanas was trying to kill everybody to make them undead, not necessarily to rule them, but to make them better at fighting old gods. Because like with I don't remember her first name, Arthas' sister, being like the first light undead, it kind of like lends itself to everything can reanimate. It's rare, but like arcane or chaos undead or whatever. Like it's just a thing. Like undeath is a thing. It's not part of death magic.
I actually like that. I think that'd be better than what I think is going to happen. And the reason I say that, like, I don't actually know what's going to happen with Sylvanas, but if I had to guess based on every other expansion for the past 4 years, it's we're going to kill Sylvanas at the end of the expansion in Shadowlands.
Yeah.
But like, part of the reason I say that I think that's like where we're headed no matter what is, and this is also kind of the reason I hate the way that I play WoW. And the reason I say that is because sometimes it's just fun to see like what the lore has in store. But because of the way I am, I know that the first raid has been being tested on beta, and one of the bosses in that raid is Sylvanas. And I'm imagining what's going to happen is like you get her down to like 10% and then she's like, haha, no, and then like runs away. But I just like I would love that story. That's such a cool story, and to me that's not even a redemption arc, because I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, we don't want a Sylvanas redemption arc. But to me that's not a redemption arc. That's kind of similar to Illidan, where it's like, this guy's the bad guy, go kill him, and then like 10 years later you learn this guy's not the bad guy. And
yeah, so like cool. I want this to be for Sylvanas what Illidan's creation of the second Well of Eternity was. Like,
yeah,
Illidan's done such bad things. He's trying to summon Sargeras and all that crap, and that's very explicitly bad. But then it's like, nah, guys, I wanted to summon him so I could stab him in the face. Like,
let me kill you.
Like
I don't see something like that happening with Sylvanas. I think they're just gonna keep her as like some crazed bad guy,
which sucks.
And then move on.
Bad.
Yeah, it sucks.
The coolest.
Well, I mean, she's not, but like, yeah.
Like the coolest before Banshee Queen, or like being a Warcraft 3 baby, like doing Sylvanas guerrilla warfare against Arthas.
Yeah, she's literally still regarded as the greatest, as one of the greatest blood elves. So
like, Arthas not getting the Sunwell and shit or whatever
was basically just her doing.
Yeah.
See, you know what I think is going to be interesting. So I don't think so. Okay, so Turalian. So I know this is kind of going to sound like a tangent, but it's not. I promise I'll bring it back around. But Turalian and Ilaria are now kind of like co-leaders of the Alliance in a way, while Anduin goes into the Shadowlands to kind of help figure out what's going on. And I don't remember, in Legion, did Ilaria ever meet back up with Sylvanas? Because they're sisters.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Did they? Okay, so I don't actually remember that happening. So what I was gonna say is like, the only thing I don't like. When did they meet up in Stormheim?
I think they met up in Stormheim.
Really?
I want to say yes, but I'm not 100%.
Okay. Well, basically what I'm getting at is like, I want to see. The only thing I don't like is they're kind of setting Ilaria up, like Ilaria and Turalian up to be bad guys. But I think it'd be so cool to just like see Ilaria meet back up with Sylvanas and be like, hey, you were cool once. And just kind of like see how that would go. You know what I mean?
Well, so Ilaria also wouldn't be the first Windrunner that Sylvanas has met since she became a Banshee. She's met all of her sisters.
True.
So I don't really think Ilaria and Sylvanas talking would make any sort of a difference, because there's already been Windrunners to try to talk her back to being a good person.
Well, not even like, I don't even care, like,
or you know what I mean.
But like, I don't want a redemption arc for Sylvanas personally. Like, I don't want her to like be like, she was doing good all along. What'd you say, Josh?
Give it another 10 years, maybe.
Yeah, I just like.
What I'm hearing is Noah doesn't like big titty goth GFs.
That's true.
I'd be totally okay if they just killed off Sylvanas and then stopped touching our goddamn chieftains. None of that.
That's fair.
Don't kill Bane.
don't have a
kill the
chieftain.
Goblin King.
Yeah, we don't have chieftains anymore.
Yeah.
It's a town.
No, we don't have a war chief. We still have chieftains.
No.
Yes,
No.
Bane is a
You
chieftain.
gotta
In
remember
fairness.
your nature is this when you go into
man.
a Makara.
It's true.
And you went at the end of Panda Land.
That's a good point, man. Well, see, that's the problem, right? Is like that's the good thing about the classic style coming back. I don't think there was nature resist gear when Karen was like, "Hey, let's fight." So I think that's the real problem. So like now that
really
nature, now that nature resist is coming back, we should be good. But no, I mean, I agree. I just feel like, and I think the big problem is that like we're going to the zone for the first time. Like we're going to Shadowlands for the first time, and it could be really cool. I don't want the whole story of Shadowlands to just be stop Sylvanas. Like this is such a like from what I've seen of the zones, they look so cool. Like again, a little bit of spoilers. Josh, I know you really like seeing lore when it comes out. If you don't want to hear this, I completely understand. You might want to mute for a minute because like I'm like kind of giving a little bit of big spoilers, and I don't know how like she kind of fits in, but like it's about a character showing up.
I'll probably forget about it when the minute you say it. So
fair. All right. So Garona shows up in Maldraxxus.
Friend? Hell yeah.
She shows up in Maldraxxus actually. And everyone's like when she showed up in beta, everyone was like, what are you doing here? And so it's like it's an interesting thing where like these characters are going to show up in places where you probably wouldn't expect them. Like obviously Uther showing up in Bastion, or sorry, Bluther showing up in Bastion's kind of like obvious, right? Like
I mean, Gabrona and Maldraxxus kind of sense.
But so I think it's going to be cool to like learn about this stuff. I don't want to just be like Sylvanas bad, care about her and forget about Shadowlands. And I don't know, I just like I'm worried
I don't
that's
think they're
going
to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a very good job at not doing that during Legion when it was, Gul'dan opening a fucking portal. I don't think you're gonna have an issue with them doing that.
That's fair. I just, I think I just want to see good lore. I honestly love when lore is actually in the game, and hoping it comes back more.
Fair, man.
Actually, speaking of which, I was looking up Kel'Thuzad leaks because we were talking about how Kel'Thuzad was coming back as well. There's a whole quest chain called Kel'Thuzad's Third Fall or something along those lines. Making it seem like Kel'Thuzad might be coming back as a primary arc of the Maldraxxus area as like an enemy, and it seems like he might be trying to like take it over or something. So it'll be interesting to see where they really go with that and what actually happens with it.
I mean, because I do know that like they're doing interesting stuff with that too. Because like along with that'll be interesting. But I know Uther is also kind of like, I hate to say it, he has a daily quest, but one of his
I'm okay with some dailies.
One of his statements, like when you click on him, one of the text is like, I still remember, I still don't know if I did the right thing. And basically like the whole thing of like this afterlives thing, getting back to it just real quick, is that he needs to let go to ascend, and they ascended him just so that he could kind of get revenge or justice on Arthas. And now he's like, yeah, I still remember this, and I was told that eventually I'd forget. What do I do here? And so it'll be interesting to see like those types of characters. And with Kel'Thuzad too, it'll be interesting to see like how he kind of fits into the zones, because it'd be cool to see him like actually have at least like a cameo that actually matters.
Actually, that's interesting to hear. What that makes me really feel like is that there's a possibility that they story arc Uther and maybe bring him back, kind of like they did with Magni. Bring him back to Azeroth, where
they're gonna make him a rock.
Gonna make it Azurite. Everything's Azurite. We're all made of Azurite.
I love that meme. Oh wow, it's all Azurite. It always has been, and Uther's just Uther, and
I don't know
Magni's just in the back.
how we did all the mining and digging that we've done without like hitting any
Ever hitting it, yeah.
fucking right.
Listen, man, it was just really deep down there. Just took a giant sword from.
Have you been to Black Rock Depths? Like, yeah.
It goes a little.
Any lava runs in chat?
So I know this is kind of getting not really off topic because it still relates to lore, but I'm sure everyone here knows about Bellular videos, and the reason I'm bringing up his videos was because I watched a Bellular video maybe 2 or 3 days ago that had something that I didn't think about at the time, but as soon as he mentioned it, I realized how sad it was. So I don't know how much you guys actually do archaeology in retail, but
I liked it in Legion.
archaeology is not getting an update for Shadowlands. And the reason that sucks, and I know it sounds like a tangent, but again, I'll bring it back in. The reason it sucks that archaeology isn't getting a update is because we're going to a new world, and the statement that they made was like, oh, well, archaeology is to learn about Azeroth's past, so why would we do it in Shadowlands? Maybe because it's this whole brand new world with such cool lore that you literally just throw into like archaeology, so it's there if you want to look at it, and it's not if you don't. It would be so cool. Like, it would be such a cool way of adding more lore into the game without having to change your game at all. I mean, what do you guys think about that? Like, I know it's kind of getting off of the lore topic, but I feel like it's a good way to kind of move to it, and something that I, believe it or not, genuinely care about, because I love archaeology, and I feel like it's missing, and I want it back. I want to go on 2-week quests to be able to get a blue moose. Like, just let me.
So that was literally the only time that archaeology was actually ever good. Was Legion. Like I did archaeology since the first time that it started to this point. I would rather it keep going because I do like doing archaeology sometimes. But if they're not going to be willing to put in the level of effort that they had in Legion and then some on top of that, honestly, I'd rather them just cut it off. Because I'd rather not even have to level it anymore.
You don't want to you wouldn't even want to see a rework, or
I don't think they're gonna find a way to rework it to make it happen. I don't think they care enough, which means that it's not going to be good. Which means I'd rather them just not do it.
Like, I think things like archaeology are really good for filling out a world. Like, things like in Bioshock, Voxophone is just random little video memoirs of people that fill out the lore that isn't the direct story. So I think with a world like Shadowlands, having some kind of prehistory to everything that's going on would be a really good thing for the game. Like, 99.9% of the player base is never going to put it all together, but the little tidbits make things feel better, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like that's what I mean is like, I just think, we talk about lore, we talk about how cool it is to have in the game, and this is such an easy way to throw in a place for you to find this lore without having to really worry about it. Or maybe hardcore raiders who could care less about why they're, like, say Castle Nathria, which is the first raid. I'm sure we'll know why we're going in there eventually, but I think it'd be cool to know why it was created. And whether we learn that or not, just throw that into archaeology, because a mythic raider's not going to care. I don't think they will. Pat, how many mythic raiders did you play with who cared about lore? Did you play with a lot of them?
There were a few of us.
Okay, but for the most part, there probably isn't, right? Like, I know probably that people from Limit don't care about lore.
I'm sure they pay attention to it. I'm sure they watch it and follow it to an extent, but I mean, it's definitely not like top priority for them.
I just feel like it'd be cool to throw that into something like archaeology, give it a purpose for the people who are ridiculous nuts who love to learn everything, like every little thing about the game, it gives it a point there, and I would love to see it come back.
If you put something in the game, there's always somebody crazy enough to play it. So
Yeah, man, that's how
do
I
it.
go about it. I find the dumb stuff and go, I want to do that. So
But this goes back to my statement of if they're not going to do it well, I'd rather them not do it. They're probably not going to actually do it to the extent you want. Yeah, they might add in, a couple of items here and there, similar to what they've done with every other expansion, right? Create a couple more archaeology things and make that happen. I would rather them take all that effort and take that manpower and put it towards something else to make that something else that much better than them to put all this effort into something and it be mediocre like it has been every single expansion except for Legion.
that's fair. I just feel like with the amount of effort they put into making professions good again, and they put in a lot of work. We talked about it a little bit last week, but for Pat, I know you weren't here. So basically, we talked about how professions are going to actually matter again. Certain professions are going to be able to craft like actual affixes for keys and things like that. In the early beta phases, that's how it worked, and the gear's going to matter. You're going to need to talk to a couple of different people, like maybe a blacksmith will have part of the key, a jewel crafter will have other parts of the key, and it'll actually be an interesting setup. I just feel like you could have done that, just done something for archaeology. I know I'm harping on it, but it just feels bad.
And they probably won't, but I know in games like Destiny and I don't know, some other like RuneScape, for instance, I know pretty shit things to bring up about it, but they eventually do bring stuff out like that. But it's just, they might do a patch or something where it's like, oh, we did something with archaeology, or we did something with this does that now. So maybe they'll do something with it. I doubt it, but maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe it's just because archaeology is just not that good of a profession at the moment that it's good enough, but they just don't want to do anything more to it because it's just them not having any idea what to do with it. So
Yeah, that's fair. It just makes me sad. I think it just goes back to like the whole, I want to be able to do everything in the game. I'm someone who likes to basically do everything I can in the game.
All the things.
Literally, that's why I have the add-on. The best add-on in the game. You can't tell me otherwise. You're wrong if you think otherwise. But that's why I have that add-on. It's fun. I don't know. I just would love to see archaeology mean something. And, as much as I say that, I am probably part of the problem where I want to get the mounts and stuff from it. So how I do it is I just stay in Legion and I farm the Legion stuff and buy the crates. I mean, that's probably adding to the problem of what the archaeology is, but
honestly, it's the only way to really get anything anymore.
Yeah.
Actually farming it, it's ridiculously slow and tedious. It's just so much easier to do the crates.
That makes sense. I think so. I want to try something new. Normally one episode normally, but how this has kind of gone for last week was I always brought up things that I wanted to talk about. I kind of want to take a quick minute and see if you guys had anything that maybe I didn't, that you've seen over the past week, or maybe that you wanted to talk about that I didn't hit. Is there anything that you guys kind of find interesting, or something that you'd love to talk about that's been on your mind, or just something that you think you would find interesting to talk about?
it all started when I was a child.
All right.
Oh, no.
Let me rephrase
Oh, no.
that. Is there anything WoW related that you guys would like to talk
What's the
about?
deal with airplane food?
Oh God. Please.
So I mean, what do we really think the Maw is? Like, we really have no information on it, right?
Advanced hell.
Advanced hell.
Probably.
What new fresh hell is this?
Super hell.
Maybe
Confirmed, the Maw is actually super hell.
honestly, now that I think about it, I don't know too much about it. But again, It's me playing through BFA and all that. I remember I didn't even do the raid, but like just reading through parts and bits of the lore and all that stuff. What's it called? When you beat the raid for Lady Ashara, doesn't she go into like some kind of super hell that N'Zoth has created and all that? Just basically just where, I don't know, there's other deities or like dead deities that N'Zoth and others have feasted upon and all that stuff. So maybe that's what the Maw is. I have no idea. That's just my guess.
So that's interesting because I think that would have to be the Shadowlands version of that, right? Because
Yeah.
believe it or not, Josh, I hate to do this to you.
It's okay. I'm used to
You
it.
did see Lady Ashara again? When you and I raided Ny'alotha, when we got to that Zanesh where you just kind of had to run back and forth and people did the ball, Ashara was the person who was getting tortured by Zanesh.
Oh, okay.
I was really trying to figure out what clip he was talking about there.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. But you're right. Like Ny'alotha, like I guess maybe the Maw is the Shadowlands version of Ny'alotha. I hate to do that to you, Josh. It's just like
It's okay. I'm used to it now.
But you can't really compare Ny'alotha and the Shadowlands though, because Ny'alotha is N'Zoth's creation, and N'Zoth is an old god.
It's his home.
But old gods are weaker than the Titans are. So if the leaders of each of the different covenants are like Titans, and they're sort of like Bastion's actually guarding the Maw, right? Making sure nothing gets released from it.
Yeah,
Or
I think
something
that's
along those lines.
lore or something. I don't really know how it works yet, to be honest.
Which means that if
That's
there
where
is
I was just gonna say, Pat, that's where the casual part of this by casuals for casuals is. You could be right. I got no clue.
we might be right. I don't know.
Lore talk.
But that means this is some crazy ass place that they just threw fucking Arthas into. Because it's getting guarded by a Titan. There has to be something real interesting in there, such as that jailer dude.
Like,
Yeah.
My impression was like, you die, you go to the Shadowlands, and then you get like sorted. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we get to pick where we go, but if you just normal die, then
I hope it's Dante's Inferno style. I want to be sent through a meat grinder to be chosen.
You want Satan to have the biggest cock in the world?
All right. I didn't play Dante's Inferno, but now I feel
Literally
like I need to play Dante's Inferno.
You
First-
definitely need to play Dante's Inferno. That game's great.
It's basically God of War.
also a
It's
book.
Satan has a big ass cock.
Pat, why would I read when I could watch?
You
No,
don't
I
want to
mean,
watch
definitely
that.
play the game, but I was actually talking about the book, not the game.
Oh,
The book is really good though. The game is also
It is.
like for what it is. It's pretty
it's so-
accurate to the. It's pretty accurate to the book to a degree. Like
Yeah, they do it. They do quite a bit justice.
yeah.
well, I'm glad Dante's Inferno is a good topic
Listen,
of conversation on this
No,
website.
don't worry. All you need to know is that one boss has baby demons shooting out of her nipples.
Oh,
Yep,
baby
I
demons,
remember that.
like a warlock. See, back to WoW, everybody.
so like my impression was like, you if you're like a bad dude, you could go to the Dreadlord place or the vampire place, but you're just so bad that you gotta go to the mall. And the jailer, his name is the jailer, right? He's supposed to keep him there, and you know, perhaps durable. Evidently, the more souls he has, the stronger he is, and I feel like that's just like a job that needs to be ever present. And then, you know, as expansions go, we're gonna go in, we're gonna kill him at the end of it, and a part of this is gonna be like, oh, who's the new jailer and whatever. And
Okay, so there
must
they
always
made
be
it
a
look
jailer.
almost like a fifth option when you're getting sorted. Then
Yeah, basically. So the Archon who we
you got your
saw,
Gryffindors, you got your Ravenclaw,
yeah,
Hufflepuff.
and
and this is
those are the
Azkaban.
muggles.
right?
no,
Muggles.
the Maw is just. See, I thought the Maw was just throwing them off the island and just like into the rocks below. But you know, the interesting thing about Your statement of the jailer gets stronger the more souls he has. It'll be interesting to see Shadowlands because, like, who decided that? That seems just like a bad idea.
I
Because,
think
like,
that's
if this
just a
thing,
consequence of the thing.
whose consequence? The jailers? I'd take that job. The more souls
No,
I
like
get, the
no, of the job that. So it's like at whatever beginning, it was like probably nobody wanted to do it, and then maybe just as he got strong, he was like, "Huh, maybe I can like do more than this job or something."
and
But
that's why
like,
he made the deal with Sylvanas.
yeah, to farm more souls or whatever, so that
Okay.
you can make some kind of power play. But
Or
if this
is
is like a since the beginning of time ordeal,
Yeah.
like
or is he another Archon level character, basically a Titan, right? The Shadowlands Titans. Is he a fifth one?
Well, and so that I think that's I don't think that's going to be what it is, and the reason I don't, and I again, this is the worst way. Okay, so the power of knowledge is real bad, right? So I was watching streams of the beta, and one of the first things you come in contact with of in the mall when you get there is it's like a Titan panel that you actually interact with, and the jailer is talking to you and like like, why are you trying to interact with that? You can't interact with that, you're mortal. And then we interact with it because of all the work we've done with the Titans, and he's like, hold up, even I can't interact with that. What are you doing and how did you do that? So that's what's really interesting about it to me is like he's not, I don't know if he's not on Titan level, but he doesn't have access to their technology and has never seen someone come through the maw who does. So what could he be?
Interesting.
Yeah, like that. And so I hate like knowing that, but it makes for, even more interesting
No, I mean
things.
it progresses the story more for sure. I mean it narrows it down. He's definitely not Titan level strength, which means that he was put into that position, which means that he's probably being held there against his will.
That's what all the chains are for.
yeah.
I mean, man.
So
So that'll be interesting to see.
I think, don't quote me, but I think it was Beliwar who,
Probably.
like, this contradicts the current cosmology chart, but he was saying that, like, Elune and Jailer were Titan Plus.
Titan
Just
Plus.
in, like, yeah, just in terms of, like, not being one for one, like, there are however many Titans. But, yeah.
Okay.
I think that Jailer and Elune are Titan Plus, because, like, however many Titans there are, they are, like, one sect of this chart. And that, like, while in the chart it's a more inner region, they're thinking that the Emerald Dream and Shadowlands are actually, like, bigger, like, not subsections, like those are
They're actual just sections of it as
Yeah.
opposed to. Okay. That would be really interesting, actually.
but big hype train. Night Warrior Tyrande versus Jailer Sylvanas. Cinematic event of the decade.
Well, that's ambitious right there. Even I got
Elf
it.
Bowl.
That I really hope that happens.
I mean,
Yeah.
Jesse, that would be pretty cool, but, like, did you see the cinematic of Volpera entering the Horde?
Elf Bowl, Noah.
Did you see the
Hot
cinematic
elf
of
on
Volpera?
elf action.
I can just watch that online whenever I want.
John, all right, hold on here. Okay. That's pretty great.
I'd watch that video.
Chatterbait.
Oh my God.
like, oh, you
I'm
haven't
pretty sure
seen
that-
that yet? Wait,
Wait, yeah, I'm pretty sure that video exists, my guy.
I've already seen it like 20 times.
Yeah, let me just.
Pixar do this?
Oh God. All right, we're on a tangent, so why not? I don't know how many people ended up staying to the very, very last seconds of the last podcast. And I want to add this as the final question because I think this is great. Ben asked it in literally the last second of the podcast. Who's the hottest war chief? I'm going with Bane.
Of course you are. Makes sense though.
Guys,
Are we saying war chief or just leader of any faction?
Oh, God.
That's a very, very important question.
Yeah, Bane. He wins hands down no matter what.
I need the answer.
Oh, God. I'm not giving you the answer. How about that?
I need to know how many
War
choices I
chief
have. Do I
or
get to pick from
faction
anybody?
leader?
Can it be Horde or Alliance? Or are we specifically doing
Oh,
war
my
chiefs?
God.
Who-
or
who's-
Chief Sylvanas, any leader, Mechatork. It's just.
Mechatork.
Oh, at least I'm not alone with Metator. All right.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Yeah, man. The way the sunlight sheens off of his gears is just...
It just makes me feel away
It just makes me feel away. God.
when you fight Metatork. It's like, do you really want to fight him, or do you really want to see what's underneath that Gmod? I want to see what's
Okay.
underneath that Gmod.
You know what? You know what? I think that is a perfect spot to end the podcast. I think that's going to be the last thought there.
This is about to get worse.
I thought you wanted to know.
Yeah, so all kidding aside, I do want to say real quick for anyone who checked out the first podcast, who is going to check out the second, really appreciate all the support that I've seen on it. I was saying to at least Pat before we started that I wasn't expecting when I loaded in to see over 30 views. In the grand scheme of things, is that a lot? Maybe not, but to me, that's about 30 more views than I was expecting to get on the podcast, especially for one that had the issues that it had. So for anyone watching this podcast, I want to thank everyone for sticking through it. I want to thank my guests. I want to thank Jesse and Josh for coming back for a second week. They already dealt through one time of this and thought, yeah, you know what? I guess I'll do it again.
Yes, yeah.
I want
It's
to
almost
thank Pat. You could argue that if it wasn't for Pat, this podcast wouldn't actually exist, since he was the one who showed me WoW, got me into it.
Got you in the computer
Thanks
games.
for ruining Noah's life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
thank you for just making me a degenerate. But all
If
kidding
you're a
aside,
degenerate, shit, man, what the fuck am I?
but all kidding aside, thank you everyone for stopping by. I hope everyone has a great time, and hey, maybe you'll learn something along the way. Have a good night,
Right.
everyone. Probably not.